Unauthorized copying or distribution is a crime punishable by up to 5 years in prison and a fine of $250,000.
Scholastic Audio presents Captain Underpants and the Attack of the Talking Toilets, the second epic novel. By Dave Pilkey, read by Len Forgione, with Dejan Freeman and Ben D'Amico. Forward. The top secret truth about Captain Underpants.
Hello. Before you read this book, there's some things you should know. So Harold and I have created this informative introduction to fill you in on the details.
Please don't let this information fall into the wrong hands.
The Top Secret Truth About Captain Underpants by George Beard
And Harold Hutchins,
who deny everything.
Once upon a time, there were two cool kids named George and Harold.
We are cool.
Me too.
They made their own comics about a superhero named
Captain Underpants.
Tra-la-la!
Everybody thought their comics were funny.
Except for their mean old principal, Mr. Krupp.
Blah, blah, blah.
One time, Mr. Krupp was being mean to George and Harold.
Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah.
So, they bought the 3D Hypno Ring. They hypnotized Mr. Krupp.
I will obey.
Then they turned him into Captain Underpants.
But Mr. Krupp thought he really was Captain Underpants.
He jumped out the window to fight crime. Uh-oh.
Tra-la-la!
George and Harold tried to stop him.
But they had to save the world first.
When they got back to school, George poured water on Captain Underpants' head.
He turned back into Mr. Krupp.
Blah, blah, blah.
But something was wrong.
Because now, for some strange reason, every time Mr. Krupp hears somebody snap their fingers,
he turns back into Captain Underpants.
Tra-la-la!
So whatever you do, please don't snap your fingers around Mr. Krupp.
please, 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 don't snap those fingers.
This has been a public service announcement from George and Harold, who still deny everything.
The end. Treehouse Comics, Inc.
Chapter 1. George and Harold. This is George Beard and Harold Hutchins. George is the kid on the left with the tie and the flat top.
We rule!
Harold is the one on the right with the t-shirt and the bad haircut.
Me too.
Remember that now.
Hey, George, this book is about us.
Harold, can you stop interrupting the narrator? I'm trying to listen.
Sorry.
Depending on who you asked, you'd probably hear a lot of different things about George and Harold. Their teacher, Miserable, might say that George and Harold were disruptive and behaviorally challenged. Their gym teacher, Mr. Meaner, might add that they were in serious need of a major attitude adjustment. Their principal, Mr. Krupp, would probably have a few more choice words to include, like sneaky and criminally mischievous, and I'll get those boys if it's the last thing well, you get the idea. But if you ask their parents, they'd probably tell you that George and Harold were smart and sweet and very good-hearted, even if they were a bit silly at times. I'd have to agree with their parents.
Hey, Harold, look at that sign for Joe's Furniture Store. It says, "Come in and see our pretty armchairs."
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I think I'm thinking what you're thinking.
Let's switch the letters around so it says, "Come and see our hairy armpits."
Awesome! We really do rule.
I told ya.
But even so, their silliness did get them into a lot of trouble sometimes. In fact, it once got them into so much trouble, they accidentally almost destroyed the whole planet with an army of evil, vicious talking toilets. But before I can tell you that story, I have to tell you this story. Chapter 2. This story. One fine morning at Jerome Horowitz Elementary School, George and Harold had just gotten out of their 4th grade remedial gym class when they saw a big sign in the hallway. It was an announcement for the 2nd annual Invention Convention. George and Harold had fond memories of last year's Invention Convention, but this year's convention was a bit different. The first prize winner got to be principal for the day. "Wow," said George. "Whoever gets to be principal gets to make up all the rules for the whole day, and everybody in school has to follow those rules. We have got to win first prize this year," exclaimed Harold. Just then, George and Harold's principal, Mr. Krupp, showed up. "Aha!" he shouted. "I'll bet you two are up to no good." "Not really," said George. "We were just reading about this year's contest." "Yeah," said Harold. "We're going to win first prize in the contest and be principals for the day." laughed Mr. Krupp. "Do you honestly think I'd let you two enter this year's contest? After that stunt you pulled at last year's Invention Convention?" George and Harold smiled and thought back to the 1st annual Invention Convention. Chapter 3. The Flashback. It was about 1 year earlier, and all of the faculty and students of Jerome Horowitz Elementary School had gathered in the gymnasium for what would later be known as the sticky chair incident. George and Harold stepped up to the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen," said George, "Harold and I have invented something that is guaranteed to keep you all glued to your seats." "Yes," said Harold. "We call it glue." Mr. Krupp became very angry. "You two did not invent glue," he shouted. He stood up to take the microphone away from Harold, and his chair stood up with him. Everyone in the gymnasium laughed. The school secretary, Miss Anthrop, stood up to help remove Mr. Krupp's chair from his pants. Her chair stood up with her, too. Everyone in the gymnasium laughed harder. The other teachers stood up and, you guessed it, they were stuck to their chairs as well. Everyone in the audience howled with laughter. One kid stood up to go to the bathroom, and his chair came up with him also. The audience stopped laughing so hard. They all quickly checked their chairs, and suddenly, the laughter stopped completely. Everyone in the whole school was glued to their seats. You see, while it was true that George and Harold had not invented glue, they had invented a new kind of glue.